You ever had anybody that wants to have a meeting with you and you show up to the meeting? And before you leave, they schedule another meeting. You meet about meeting, you talk about talking, you plan about planning. You just go in circles. These aren't real people. I did an interview one time. This guy can't figure out why I blocked him. He can't figure out why I won't talk to him. He was a media member. I'm getting ready to fight Anderson Silva the second time. I mean, humbly, without looking like a dick, my schedule was very hard. It was extremely difficult to keep up with my phone. I was just getting pulled in a lot of directions. And this guy got a hold of my coach. And so because I was introduced on that level, he comes down, he meets me at the gym. I show up early, and I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm cutting to 185 pounds. Like, life is not a comfortable thing for me. So to get there early and to give my time and energy to this person, I was being very generous. In all fairness, it's being very generous. It's an article that he's going to do something with professionally. I'm not participating in any of that. So this is me giving him something. So 40 minutes in, I realize that he's got no tape recorder and he's taken no notes. Now, I don't need to do those things. I have a photographic and telegraphic memory. I went all the way through college. Honors and the great grades, the whole bit. I've never even had a notepad. And people tell you to write down everything in college. A lot of people do. I never even had a notepad. Never took it. Never even considered it. Don't know anything about that. So I just figured I'm working with something like this. Well, 40 minutes in, I bring it up and I realize when he tells me he's interviewing me right now, this is an interview so that he can decide if he would like to interview me. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. But now here we are right now. We know each other, and he knows where I train, and my mother came with me every day and knows my mom. And again, I got introduced through the coach. I don't know how well the coach knows him. I don't know if it was like an old friend of the family. I don't know. Total stranger. Just reached out to the coach. I don't know. So I go to the second meeting. And the second meeting, when we got to the end of it, is where he reveals to me he's pretty sure that he wants to do this. And he sets up the third meeting. And it was one of these things that was so mind-numbingly painful that here I am 11 years later. I still want those hours of my life back. I still want my hours that I gave to that guy back. I did a live show, Michael Landsberg. Michael Landsberg was a friend of mine, by the way. Like, we would communicate and have happy birthdays and happy holidays. We would communicate. He has me come on a show. I go on his show. And he's got another guest on the show. So I pop on the show, right? I'm on at 1 o'clock. Boom, 1 o'clock. Shit opens up. Here we are. And I'm going. I'm in character, man. And it's going down Saturday night. And it's only on pay-per-view. And when you're the greatest in the business, they got a name for it. I'm working. I'm performing. 25 minutes into this, he says, hey, listen, I think we got all the audio and all the cameras and lights in the right spot. You guys ready to start this thing? I couldn't believe it. 25 minutes of me working and performing. And he didn't record it. That wasn't the piece. Tells me the piece is at 1. I show up at 1. At 1:25, he's ready to do that. I couldn't believe it. I hung up and I blocked him. I have not spoke to him since. And I don't have enough friends, by the way, to be getting rid of friends. I don't have enough. I just couldn't believe he did it. I absolutely could not believe it. And so he had another way to get a hold of me, which was like through email. And he sent one, but it was nasty. Hey, what are you doing? I can't believe you hung up, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't believe I hung up. You brought me on with somebody else. I'm having conversation for 25 minutes and you didn't capture it? My point to you, okay? My point to you is we keep on having guys that want to talk about talking, but they don't make it clear they want to fight. I mean, I'm seeing it right now with Strickland and du Plessis. It is very clear that you guys saw something different than I did. I wanted Strickland to win that fight. I do not hide that. If I was calling it that night, I would have hid that. I would have disclosed my bias and I called what I saw. But I am biased, very, towards Sean. And I was not having a good night. We were getting beat up round after round. And that's not what you saw. I've taken polls right here with you guys. Something called a community page on YouTube, and it's not what you saw. Overwhelmingly, 100,000 plus of you voted. Thought Sean won that fight. Did another poll. Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. The fight the UFC is trying to book. Those phone calls have gone out to Izzy and Du Plessis. That's the one they're trying to book. And you guys are stepping in front of that, letting the UFC know they do not have their thumb on top of the polls. That the fight you want is Strickland Du Plessis rematch. And that's before you get into the fact that the highest ranking judge, Saul D'Amato, is the judge that saw it for Strickland, which is the same way Dana saw it. It's the same way that Rogan saw it. So I tell you that because that has a lot of makings for a rematch. And Sean has talked a lot about the first match, and Du Plessis has responded a lot about the first match. But one thing that I have not heard either of them say is, let's do a second match. If that has happened, feel free to tell me where it's happened. I'm sharing with you on a personal note. I have not heard it. I have not seen it. I'm out posting. I'm making posts. I'm making videos every day. I read every one of your guys' comments. I have not heard or seen anywhere where these guys have called each other out. And it just reminds me of Aspinall and Jon Jones. I mean, these two have gone back and forth in the media, which I'm stunned about two things. I've been stunned. I don't want to overuse that word. The correct word, I have been stunned at the dud that is the feud between Aspinall and Jon Jones. I talked about that a few times weeks ago. I haven't brought it up since because you guys don't click on it. You do not care. There is something that lacks interest, and I don't understand that. The interim champion versus the undisputed champion, that is Hulk Hogan versus the Warrior. It is so rare in MMA that both guys leave the locker room with an active belt. It is so rare. It is so special in the coveted division of heavyweight. With what appears to be the future in Aspinall and what is the GOAT in Jones. And you guys don't care. And I can't accept that. I don't believe that. I think if that fight was made, that would do good numbers. I think that that arena would sell out. I think. So why does nobody care when they're going back and forth? Well, because they haven't actually said they want to fight. Neither one of them has. Tom has asked very nicely and said, I think I should be the one, and your legacy depends on it. And Jon has said, you know, you've done a good job, but I got one left in me, and I already got a partner. So you might as well go say it to the wind. And it's one of these things where, why are two fighters talking about each other, but they're not saying they want to fight? I don't understand. I don't understand. I can tell you it doesn't work, and I can tell you it's not interesting based on the absolute dud. And Jon wouldn't disagree with me, and neither would Aspinall. They're both over there tweeting it, and nobody's retweeting it, nobody's liking it, nobody's commenting on it. It's not making headlines anymore. I can send out a tweet right now. Right now in front of you guys, right now, that would be the front page of MMA Mania or MMA Fighting or whatever the top page is. It would be the front page tomorrow. I don't mean that to be arrogant, but I would put something out that's interesting. I would understand that to tell a story, you need 5 W's. Who, what, when, why, and where. If you have 2 W's, 3 W's, or 4 W's, you don't have a story. So you haven't given a reporter anything that he could report on, so you can't even get a headline. I could do it right now. And these guys have belts and they can't get an interest. I maintain that they don't have the 5 W's and they're missing the call-up. They haven't said they want to fight each other. I look at Strickland and Du Plessis. It looks like there's something there that you guys want. But I haven't heard either one call for it. And I know that both are fully aware that the direction the organization is going is Adesanya Du Plessis. And I know both are fully aware that Chimaev is speaking up and has been promised that opportunity. And that if they don't get in front of Chimaev, they don't get in front of Izzy, and they don't get it done now, it's probably never going to happen again. But they still haven't quite said the words. You want to meet about having a meeting? Would you like to talk about talking? Would you like to plan on us planning? Would you like to fight about fighting? Or would you like to be a little bit clearer? The number one step and the first step to anything in the world that you're ever going to get, do you guys know what it is? It's not a big secret. It's not a trick. The number one thing, it doesn't matter if you're dealing with your father, doesn't matter if you're dealing with your boss, doesn't matter what you're dealing with. The first step in the ingredient of getting something you want, do you know what it is? To ask for it.